Hello and welcome to Mantravadis. I'm Sarat Mantravadi and I'll be talking about personal finances and investing. If you're getting value from this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Most people in America live paycheck to paycheck. An unexpected bill is what separates them from a financial disaster. While people with the lowest incomes face the biggest challenges, even some of the households making $200,000 a year are struggling to pay even basic bills. This is not just during the pandemic, by the way, which of course has made life a lot more difficult for many. In 2019, a third of Americans said they could not cover an unexpected bill of $400 for a car repair or medical expenses without going into debt, if they could cover it at all. It does not have to be like this. There is an alternative to living from paycheck to paycheck if you are disciplined about savings and invest wisely. Even if you don't achieve total financial security, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a moment, you can at least have a cushion of savings and investment income. You don't have to feel panicky in the gut every time you think about money. Unless our parents are loaded and leave us with a trust fund or something like that, most of us start earning by exchanging our time. Even though it's a bad deal, we don't have any other option, at least at the beginning of our career. But we don't have to keep doing that until the end of our lives, provided we save systematically and invest tax efficiently in low fee funds and other such investments. I wish all of us had thought about money and personal finances at school. It might be as important, if not more, than learning about math and science. This channel is about rectifying that situation and equipping you with the knowledge you need. I've spent the past 20 years learning about and working in the world of finance and investments. In this channel, I will share with you everything I learned and everything I'm currently learning about finance and investments so that you can achieve financial freedom. Exchanging your time for money is a very bad deal if you think about it. The reason is pretty straightforward. You can always get more money, but you cannot get more time. Time is the most scarce and precious resource we have. It is a limited resource that is just ticking away. You can get yourself into a situation where you can pay for the basic necessities of your life without having to work. And this is what I mean by financial security. How much money will that take, you ask? You might be surprised by the answer. In America, to pay for housing, utilities, food, transportation, and basic insurance, it costs approximately an average of $35,000 per year per person. It'll probably cost a lot less in other countries. And assuming a rate of return of 7% per year, you will need a lump sum amount of $500,000 to generate an annual investment income after tax of $35,000. There is a way to not incur taxes ever again by using a Roth account. We'll talk more about it later. According to Vanguard, the average long-term return will be between 4 and 6% for US equities and between 7 and 9% for international equities. Vanguard, if you're curious, is a very highly regarded investment company that manages $7.1 trillion. That's trillion with a T. Is the second largest asset manager in the world after BlackRock. So if you have $500,000, you don't have to work to pay for housing, utilities, food, transportation, and basic insurance for life. How long do you think it'll take to accumulate $500,000? If you make $18,000 a year and save 20%, you can accumulate that much in approximately 17 years. So if you are a 20-year-old, you can achieve financial security by the time you are 37 years old. And you won't have to work ever again to pay for basic living expenses. Imagine that. This is only an example. I understand the economic realities of America and the world. I understand 500,000 is a huge amount. This is not a get rich quick scheme. I haven't discovered a new secret of life, and it certainly won't happen overnight. But you'll be surprised how achievable it is if you start taking advantage of the magical power of compounding. Albert Einstein is supposed to have said that compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe. He who understands it earns it, he who doesn't pays it. The power of compounding is hard to understand because it is counterintuitive. It is exponential, and like all non-linear things, it is hard to grasp. It will surprise you. For instance, if you can get 1% better at anything each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day for 1 year, you'll decline nearly down to zero. James Clear gives this example in Atomic Habits. Or consider this: Warren Buffett is worth $100 billion now at the age of 90. But he was not even a billionaire for the majority of his life, even though he bought his first stock at the age of 11. He first became a billionaire at the age of 56. So that means more than 99% of Warren Buffett's net worth was earned after his 55th birthday. At 60 years old, he was worth 3.8 billion, and at 66, he was worth 16.5 billion. In the following 6 years, his net worth more than doubled and was worth 35.7 billion by the time he was 72 years old. Jim Simons, the founder of the hedge fund Renaissance Technologies, has compounded money at 66% annually since 1988. No one comes close to this record. He makes Warren Buffett look very mediocre. Buffett compounded at approximately 22% annually, a third as much. Still, Buffett is worth $100 billion and Simons is worth $24 billion. Why is Warren Buffett's net worth over 4 times that of Simons if Simons is such a better investor? That's because Simons did not find his investment stride until he was 50 years old. He has had less than half as many years to compound his money as Buffett. Burton Malkiel, the author of A Random Walk Down Wall Street, a must-read book, by the way, for anyone interested in investing, gives this example to drive home the power of compounding. It is about twin brothers Williams and James. James, not Harry. William starts saving $4,000 a year when he's 20 and stops after 20 years, after having saved $80,000. His brother James starts investing $4,000 a year at 40 and does so for 25 years for a total of $100,000 saved. If they earn 10% on their savings at age 65, Williams will have 2.4 million in his account while James will have only 389,000. So that means despite having saved 20% less, Williams' nest egg will be almost 6.5 times greater because he tapped into the power of compounding for 20 more years than his brother. If you want to save $1 million by your 60th birthday, assuming a rate of 10% return, you only need to set aside $22,095 if you start on your 20th birthday. If you start on your 50th birthday, you need to set aside $385,000 approximately. In other words, $1 saved in your 20s is equal to $17.5 saved in your 50s. That's how powerful compounding is. I've never been a big spender, but I would have saved a lot more had I understood the power of compounding much sooner, as well as I do now. Whether you are a millennial, a Gen Xer, or even a baby boomer, and no matter where you are on your personal timeline, this advice applies to you. When we think about building wealth, we automatically think about scoring big. We think earning a lot of income is the answer to building wealth, either by making a killing in some hot investment or by launching a hugely successful product or service if you are an entrepreneur, or even by winning a huge lottery. We don't think of saving systematically and taking advantage of the power of compounding as the answer to building wealth, and that is a mistake. The problem with getting wealthy by scoring big is lifestyle inflation. That's another fancy way of saying that when your income increases, so will your expenses. Usually. There might be a lot of exceptions to this, but this happens more often than you think. Sometimes the increase in expenses is more than the increase in income, and we might even end up in debt. This is the reason why even the highest paid people in the world very often get into financial difficulties. The list of such people is long, but here are some well-known examples. Hip-hop star Curtis Jackson, popularly known as 50 Cent, was once worth $155 million according to Forbes. He filed for bankruptcy in 2015 after he was found guilty of releasing a sex tape online and was ordered to pay $5 million to the victim. Legendary baseball pitcher Curt Schilling earned just over $114 million during his 19-year career, which includes 2 World Series championships for the Boston Red Sox. He sunk $50 million into a video game startup and lost all his fortune when that company filed for bankruptcy in 2012. He was forced to sell many of his possessions, including his famous bloody sock and his $3 million home in Massachusetts. He still has $50 million in debt. Kim Basinger was one of the most sought after actresses of her generation. She won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for her role in LA Confidential. At the height of her A-list popularity, she earned more than $10 million per picture, but she ended up bankrupt in 1993. Francis Ford Coppola is the director of the Godfather series, some of the greatest American films that held the all-time box office record for some time with gross ticket sales of 129 million. He filed for bankruptcy not once, not twice, but 3 times. Even Michael Jackson, who reportedly signed a recording contract worth almost $1 billion and sold more than 750 million records, was forced to the brink of bankruptcy in 2007 when he was unable to pay back a 25 million loan on his Neverland ranch. Jackson apparently spent money as if he would never run out, until he finally did. At his death 2 years later, he reportedly owed more than $300 million. Former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson, who made more money in his time than any other boxer in history, earning $400 million, filed for bankruptcy in 2003 with a debt of $23 million. Marvin Gaye, Willie Nelson, MC Hammer, Meatloaf, and Cyndi Lauper are some of the other examples of super high paid people who filed for bankruptcy. Do you think any of these ultra high earners imagined a day when money would stop flowing? Do you think they even considered preparing for such a day? I think not. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for finding ways to increase your earnings. In fact, we might talk a lot about how to increase your earnings on this channel. The main takeaway, the main thing to remember is that the mindset of wealth creation is much more important than earning a high income to build meaningful wealth. Tony Robbins gives the example of Theodore Johnson. Theodore joined the newly formed United Parcel Service (UPS) in 1924. Though he worked hard and moved up in the company, he never made more than $14,000 a year. But he systematically saved 20% of every paycheck he received and every Christmas bonus and invested it in the company's stock. I wouldn't recommend putting all your money in just one stock, but that is a topic for another video. We'll talk a lot on this channel about diversification and the importance of not losing money. Through stock splits and patiently waiting for his money to compound, Theodore Johnson's UPS stock was worth over 70 million by the time he was 90 years old. And this is just one of many such examples. The way to build meaningful wealth, the way you can surely count on and get started right away, is by investing systematically in a well-diversified portfolio consisting of multiple asset classes. It is also important to invest for the long term, that is for over 1 year, so you pay the much lower long-term capital gains tax of 20% at the highest slab, instead of paying income tax that can exceed 50% if you are a high earner when you combine federal and state taxes. All you need to do to start moving towards financial freedom is change your mindset and strategy. Consider getting into the mindset of wealth creation. In other words, get out of the mindset that says you can get wealthy only if you earn more, and get into the mindset that says to build wealth, you need to save and invest wisely. Wealth builds over time. It will take longer than you feel like, but much shorter than you think. High income is great and will help you reach a goal of financial freedom sooner, but high income is not a requirement for building wealth, as you saw in the case of Theodore Johnson. On the other hand, being disciplined and taking advantage of the power of compounding is absolutely necessary. There's no way around it. Even if financial freedom and the idea of not having to work unless you really want to doesn't appeal to you, we live in a 401k world, as Tom Friedman says. We live in a world where we are responsible for our own finances and our own careers. Governments will do less for you. Companies will do less for you. Even unions can do less for you. Our parents and grandparents could count on pensions in retirement, but you and I cannot anymore. Only 52% of America's private sector workforce is covered by any kind of retirement plan at all. And most of these are take all the risks and do it yourself kind of models. If you are a municipal, state, or federal employee, you might still enjoy a government backed pension. But even that is becoming less certain. We all are seeing what's happening in Detroit and San Bernardino. Even if you don't take away anything else, remember this: the rich are rich because they save, because they invest tax efficiently, and because they invest in stocks and other such investments for the long term so that they can take advantage of the power of compounding. That is the mantra. That's it. You must become an investor if you want to be financially free. Remember, you're already engaging in a financial trade, even if you don't look at it that way currently. If you work for a living, you're trading your time for money. If you stop working, your income will also stop and your financial life will come to a halt. It does not have to.